The local authorities have largely been clueless in fighting coronavirus and believe that imposing restrictions is the only way to deal with the health crisis, as evidenced by the extension of prohibitory orders one more time. In the meantime, health authorities are facing mounting challenges, the most prominent being the management of vaccine distribution. Otherwise, kind of crowd scene make us believe that these vaccination centers might fast turn out to be corona hotspots. Good morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the top stories of the hour. Local, provincial and federal governments fail in an effective inoculation drive for COVID vaccines. Some 4.1 million doses of vaccine still languish in its government store. Questions raised over the justification of the investment board, which has approved almost 24 projects worth 800 billion rupees in the past 11 years. Tunisian president dismisses the government in a dramatic escalation of political crisis. The opposition labels it a coup, calling their supporters to hit the streets. And 21 gold medals up for grabs on the third day of Tokyo Olympics today. China leads the medal tally with 11 medals, including 6 golds. The country continues to reel under the second wave of coronavirus as 1,539 individuals tested positive, while 18 COVID-19 deaths were recorded yesterday. With the latest figure, the total case load reached 680,556, while the death tally has touched 9,713. The Kathmandu Valley reported 624 new cases yesterday, 468 of which were from Kathmandu district, 89 from Lalitpur and 67 from Bhaktapur. Meanwhile, 2,050 patients have registered full recovery, with the recovery rate at 94.6% and the recovery tally touching 643,615. Meanwhile, 10,569 tests through the PCR method were conducted yesterday. The Health Ministry has informed that 24,548 of the total infected are in home isolation, 666 are being treated at intensive care units and 168 are on ventilator support. Meanwhile, the ongoing prohibitory order in the Kathmandu Valley has been extended by 10 more days. The meeting of the chief district officers of Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur held yesterday afternoon decided to extend the ongoing prohibitory order until 4th of August. The current prohibitory order was set to expire yesterday. However, there have been no changes in the provisions of the prohibitory order. Nepal has already received almost 8.9 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines under grant assistance and through procurement process. However, some 4.1 million doses of vaccines are still in government storage instead of being rolled out to the public, as the government has failed to come up with concrete plans to manage these vaccines at a time when the number of COVID-19 cases is on the rise. We have more in this report.
Nepal has already received 5 million doses of varicella vaccine so far, including those received under grant assistance from the Chinese government and through the procurement process. Out of the total 5 million doses received, only 2.25 million doses have been rolled out till date, while the remaining has been stored. The situation is no different with Johnson & Johnson vaccines, which were received on 12th of this month. The American manufactured vaccine, which is claimed to be adequate with just a single shot to help build immunity against coronavirus, has not been rolled out to all parts of the country. Meanwhile, according to the Health Ministry, only 2.25 million doses of 2.34 million doses of Covishield vaccines were used. Altogether, merely 4.7 million doses of vaccines have been rolled out of the total 8.9 million received. Experts have opined that all the 3 tiers of the government have failed in managing the received doses, even as the central government is responsible to supply the vaccines, while the provincial and local governments are supposed to inoculate these vaccines to the public. The Health Ministry also looks confused regarding the target group to receive the vaccines. Initially, the ministry informed that the vaccines were being rolled out from 19th of this month to individuals of risk groups based on priority, including differently abled people and refugees residing in Nepal, and also people aged between 50 and 54. However, the ministry started providing vaccines to everyone above the age of 18 2 days later. The ministry then stopped vaccinating Johnson & Johnson jabs, citing running out of the vaccines even as 1.3 million doses were still in stock. Experts have opined that the health ministry could not inoculate the public despite receiving a good quantity of vaccines due to the weakness of the central government to distribute and fix the target group, while the provincial and local governments failed to manage vaccine centers. As the country is receiving more consignment from China, it is certain that the government will face problem of stocking the vaccines. In addition to that, more than 1.3 million people have already registered their data online. However, the government does not have a concrete plan in this regard. Experts have opined that the weak policy of all the three tiers of the government could be disastrous for the country at a time when cases of COVID-19 are on the rise.
The Meteorological Forecasting Division has informed that the monsoon cycle in the country is likely to be more active from today with the movement of low-pressure winds towards the Tarai region. The low-pressure monsoon winds are likely to reach the Tarai region of the country, activating heavy monsoon rains until Wednesday. The Weather Forecasting Division, issuing a warning and advice to the general public, said various parts of the country are likely to receive light to moderate rainfall within 24 hours. The division has further added that few places of Bagmati province will receive heavy rainfall. There is risk of landslides, floods, among other water-induced disasters in the hill regions. The division has urged settlements in lower embankments to adopt maximum precautions due to possible rise in water levels. The investment board, since its establishment 11 years ago, has approved almost 24 projects worth 850 billion rupees. However, scanty progress has been witnessed in the projects so far, as the fate of these approved projects remain uncertain. More in this report.
The investment board on 11th of this month approved further investment of over 97 billion rupees for Upper Damor and Lower Manang Marshangdi hydropower projects. The board gave its approval for the investment of 135 billion rupees for several other projects during the last fiscal year alone. The board, which was established 11 years ago to carry out mega projects swiftly, approved 26 projects worth 850 billion rupees during this period. However, there has been no effective progress so far. Hongxi and Huasheng cement factories under Chinese investment are already in operation, while the 900-megawatt Arun 3rd hydropower in Sankhwa Sawa under Indian investment is in the construction stage. However, the board itself is irresponsive regarding the fate of other projects and is preparing to make detailed studies on works in progress of these approved projects. Upper Karnali is the first mega project under the Project Development Agreement and was signed in 2014 by the Investment Board and Indian company GMR at the presence of the then Prime Minister Sushil Koirala and the then Indian Home Minister Rajnath Singh. The Indian company, which had committed to manage the capital within 2 years, has failed to do so till date. Likewise, 9 projects including Outer Ring Road, Upper Marshangdi 2nd and Muktinath cable car projects, to name a few, are in the stage of survey and study. Experts have opined that the board has been largely limited to the role of approving surveys, studies and investment instead of facilitating these projects. The approval from the investment board is mandatory for projects worth over 6 billion rupees of local and international investment and for hydropower projects with more than 200 megawatt capacity. However, experts now have raised questions on the role and function of the board, as there has been no radical progress in any of the approved projects.
And in our public voice segment, we had asked the local residents in Saptari what problems have they been facing due to the poor condition of roads during the monsoon season. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
कोई बीमारी पर्यो भने या कि चाह कुनैलाई कसैलाई मतलब आवश्यकै कामको लागि खादै बीज लिनको लागि जान्छ किसान, त्यो ठाउँ छैन, बाटो छैन।
कुनै संकट परेमा अब साधनै छैन, मर्नै मात्रै एउटा उपाय छ।
यहाँ बाटो यस्तो छ कि तपाईले देख्दा माथिबाट अलि सहज जस्तो लाग्छ, बाइक छिर्ने बित्तिकै सट्टै जान्छ भित्र।
बजेट आउ पर्दा सालमा करोडौं करोड फ्री गराइदिन्छ, विकासको नाममा खर्च गर्दैन।
हामीहरू जेलमा बसेको छु, औषधि ल्याउनको लागि केही पनि यहाँ समस्या छ। हामीहरूको यातायात बन्द छ।
And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion. And the question is, why have projects approved by Investment Board failed to move ahead? Your options are option A, lack of investors' interest, option B, lack of government coordination, and option C, no conducive environment. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And that's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.